Hey there folks, it's me, Safari Sam, and today I'm going to show you one of the many ways to change the substrate in an isopod colony. Let's get started. So I can already hear you typing angrily on the keyboard. "Ooh, that's not a proper habitat, Sam. What are you doing, mate?" I know. I just removed the cork bark and a bunch of moss and leaf litter and stuff to get to the bare substrate. All the other things are in a critter keeper next to me over here, I promise. This is not what my colonies normally look like, and you know that because I've made multiple colony build videos. Today, we're cleaning up, where are you? Our dairy cow isopods, which are Porcellio X laevis, not Porcellio laevis. They have been found to be a different species. I do not think they've been given a new species name yet, so Porcellio X laevis I think is going to stick for now. But they're really cute, really great isopods. They make good display isopods. I actually use them as cleanup crews, not in the way you would expect. Like, they don't live with my geckos or anything, because they really like protein and they might nibble on your critter. Mine, I use a bit in a different way. One, I want to sell them one day. Right now I'm just breeding them for fun, but one day I'll sell. And two, sometimes when other critters die, unfortunately, my isopods eat them. Recently I did a little video with my silk moth. The other one never came out of the cocoon. But the silk moth, after a couple days, of course, passed away, because their lifespan is only a couple days after their metamorphosis is complete. I put it in here, within a couple hours, no trace of it. Not a single trace. But right now, these guys need some new substrate. They've been in this bin for quite a while, maybe creeping up on a year. It's been at least 8 months. So, what I need to do is replace the substrate. It might not look entirely like frass from your view here on the camera, but I can see a lot of frass in here. There's a lot of wood chips and stuff on the top, but these guys really could use a substrate change, so we will be doing that today, and we're going to be using the half and half method. Now for the half and half method you need a second empty bin. What I'm going to do is take half of the substrate out of here, along with half of the isopods, put it in another bin, and then fill the other half of each bin with brand new substrate. So this keeps you from having to pick out all the individual isopods, which we will make a video on that kind of video later. It'll keep you from having to pick out all the individual isopods, but if you do that forever, you end up with a whole heck of a lot of bins. And I can't have infinite bins, but right now I do have a couple empty isopod bins, so we're going to do it that way. So I have an isopod bin that no longer has any isopods in it. This one right here. So I'm going to take it and everything inside of it, except a couple pieces of the precious little cuttlebone, and I'm just going to dump it and everything in it, right in here. And if you're wondering what this giant bin is for, subscribe and you'll eventually find out. But all the isopod frass in this and whatnot, and all this detritus and stuff will be really beneficial for what's eventually going to end up in here, because I do want it to have live plants. And now I'm going to very gently remove half of the substrate and isopods here, and put them in this bin. Alright, so now I've got about half in this bin. There might be a tiny bit more in this bin, but there's also far more isopods in this bin. So the isopods that I have in the critter carrier here next to me will probably end up in this one. But next to Expo, or if I see some at, you know, a big box pet store or something, I really need to get some more dairy cow isopods so that these don't get too inbred. And then each will get about half of the new batch. But right now I need to add in some new substrate. I need to finish off this bag of Reptisoil before I go to the next bag. So we're going to do this real quick, real gently now. This scoop is really helpful in doing it gently. I got this from one of my build videos. It came with a food storage thing I turned into a vivarium. But I've used BioDude's Terra Isopoda before, and I think there is a little Terra Isopoda in actually what I dumped into the big tub earlier. But I don't really use it anymore. Not that it's not great. It is great. It's just expensive, and I can get a lot more for the same price of Reptisoil. When you have as many critters as I do, Sometimes you just have to go cheaper, and Reptisoil's great. It still works great. Now let's pop open the new bag. So you see, I'm going to scoop this humidity holding detritus-rich soil, and I'm just going to kind of do it gently like this is how I'm doing it. Because you don't want to bury them too quickly and too harshly. They're great diggers. They'll probably be fine, but you don't want to like scare them or stress them any more than you already are. I know they're little arthropods, they're crustaceans actually, to be a little more specific. But that doesn't mean they don't get scared, it doesn't mean they don't get stressed, it doesn't mean they don't have emotions. They might not feel and think like we do, but they do feel and think. They're animals, and animals do that. So now I've used the Reptisoil to give them a lot more substrate, and most of the clean substrate is towards the top, because that seems to be where these dairy cows, Porcellio axlavis and probably Porcellio laevis, do this as well. But it seems to be where they like to leave their frass, just up top. Like sometimes I flip their cork bark and frass just falls out of it. So since they like to leave their frass up top, they're more top foragers, etc., which is why they make a good display isopod. I've kept the older stuff at the bottom. Normally I'd churn it up a lot more. I'm not doing that with these bin cleanings, these bin swaps. And you can see they're starting to push their way back to the surface and crawl around, which is really good. I'm letting them sit for a sec, going to try to let them kind of burrow their way back up, which they're doing great at. I mean, they're isopods. Of course they're doing great at it. Each bin is also going to get a white garden snail shell. They actually already ate the snails out of there. Rest in peace, bone colony. But each one's going to get a shell. I don't know if they'll actually be able to eat the shells. If they can't, maybe I'll crush them up or do something else with them. They could make decent decor, I suppose, for terrariums and vivariums. But I'm going to give them those. Once again, not sure if they can actually even eat the shell. But if they can, it's good. If they can't, then it's something, right? So now I'm going to take this big piece of cork bark that has a lot of them living in it that I removed earlier. And we're just going to place it right here, front and center. Everything's fine. I also have some of their old leaf litter which will go back in, but they're mostly going to get new leaf litter because they kind of needed that anyway. I let it get lower than I normally would, but really leaf litter is one of those things where you almost can't have too much of it for isopods. So now we've got some cork bark. Maybe I'll add more to this one, we'll have to see. But, actually I probably will. But, now we're going to do the brand new leaf litter. I think these are magnolia, I don't remember. But once again, leaf litter is something that you almost can't have too much of. So it's just going to be everywhere. We're also going to crumple some up. It's not all going to be big full intact leaves. Some will be crumpled and spread around too. Plus there's a lot of detritus in the soil that they can feast on, create little microbiomes, etc. And they can hide under the big leaves, which is nice too. Now there's one thing I like to put in, which not only helps with humidity, not only helps with the moisture gradient and helping them drink, but it's also something they can eat. Moss. You can't really see it in my bag here. But I have a lot of sphagnum moss that we're going to put in here. I like to put just big clumps in the back. I think that really helps me, because the back is where I'm going to pour water for the moisture gradient. So now these bins are really starting to look fantastic. But I do want to add a few more things, like some extra food. Once again, they can nibble on cork bark, the leaf litter, the detritus in the soil, and even the moss, plus each other's corpses. But these little guys, I think, need a little bit more. First up, they need some calcium, which is why I went to PetSmart today. Boop. This is normally something that I would have gotten from an expo for far cheaper. But there's no expo till like halfway through next month at the time I'm recording this. So I had to get some of the expensive bird cuttle bone. Now this is a bone from a cuttlefish, which a lot of people don't believe, but it is. And it makes a great calcium supplement, not just for birds, but for isopods. Now, unfortunately, this kind of harder back part, the isopod can't eat. They only eat the soft inner part, and you'll see they'll actually leave the little back part of the bone, the shell, if you will, because they can't chew it up. which means they probably can't chew those snail shells, but we'll see maybe when those shells start to decompose a little more. But each of them is going to get one of this. I will break it up into smaller pieces. Probably need to use shears or something. But yeah, if you see that just the back part of the shell is still in there, you can pull it out, because they're not going to eat it. Now, normally I would have mixed half of the cuttle bone into the substrate and then left a couple of pieces on top. Unfortunately, I should have put the cuttle bone in sooner, because now to do all that substrate mixing I'd have to remove a bunch of stuff and put it back in, but it'll be fine. Once again, these are isopods that often stick towards the top of the soil anyway. They're capable of going down when they need to, but they can stay closer to the top. So this is fine for now. Once they start to get rid of a little bit of this leaf litter, maybe I'll do it. But this is a special occasion as well, and I haven't used any of this in a while. My big tub of snake skin, which you've seen probably, because I did do a video on why snake skin is a great isopod treat. So there's a piece for this colony. I think they deserve it. Also, I'm going away for a few days, and since I am going away for a few days, my isopods need a bit more to nom on than usual. Right? So the snake skin will help in that regard. They can't eat the belly scales. Scales? Naughty, that's not a litter box. Come on, girl. They can eat the belly scales, but... Sorry, the cat has me all jumbled. They cannot eat the belly scales. But that'll be fine. That's really not an issue. They don't get snake skin terribly often. And what I can also do is, one, I could probably just cut the belly part out with scissors, but that's too much work. The belly scales I can scoop up and give to my darkling beetles, because the darkling beetles eat everything. They take the scales and all, but my hissing cockroaches won't touch snake skin, which I think is odd. True herbivores, I guess. But there is more that still needs to be done since I'm going away for a while. Earlier I boiled some carrots. My roaches got some, and the beetles and everyone got some, and now the isopods are going to get some. So we'll put one towards the front and one towards the back for each bin. And these are boiled carrots. They need to be boiled, and they are also organic. And when I get back, if there's any mold or anything on them, I'll get rid of that. I'm also... I forgot to put springtails in. Okay, so I'm going to put springtails in too. I have a colony up on the shelf back there from Josh's frogs. So I'll take some from my springtail colony along with a little bit of the activated carbon, put it in here. That'll work just fine. Just fine. So yeah, that's really it. We have the carrots, which will be good food and moisture. They have a lot of calcium. A lot. They got their moisture gradient, hides, food, everything they could need, even with the cat snooping in on them. You've been so good this whole video, girl. No, you can't have the carrot. You won't like it. You won't like it. So if you want to know how to set up bins and stuff beyond this, you can definitely check out some of our other bin making videos, which will show you, you know, what you need here and learn more about the specific species and whatnot in them. But these are ready to go up on the shelf. I actually want to install more ventilation on the sides for cross ventilation so I can start stacking these, and I have more stickers to add as well. And then this bin is going to need a new species label, because this one is no longer correct. So that is it. Thank you all very much for your support. Please remember to rate, comment, subscribe, etc. Hopefully this was helpful. If any of you keep isopods, let me know down in the comments if you keep them. I want to know your genus and species. What's the morph? I want to know all that good stuff. So that's it. Thank you all once again. I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.